Hi, Kimberly. Can you hear me?
I can, thank you, Mr. Colley.
Hello, Recording Secretary Hopwood. Are you able to see and hear me?
I certainly am. Looks good.
Excellent. We've got about 2 minutes and then we can get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
And we don't have more than, as Ms. Meads mentioned, we don't have more than maybe just a couple of minutes, but I do want to give our applicant team an opportunity to do a sound check. If there's anyone from our applicant team that would like to test their sound, please raise your hand within the Zoom meeting and we'll go ahead and we can get the sound tested there. So I'm not seeing anybody that's looking for a sound check. Oh, okay. Looks like we have a sound check for Mr. Colombo. Let me go ahead and get you a prompt, and then when you answer the prompt, you should be able to try that out.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are we ready to go, Recording Secretary Hopwood?
Let me just make sure our recording is all set. And looks like our feed is going. I think we are.
Excellent. Well then, good afternoon. I'm Sherry Mead, Zoning Administrator, and I'd like to call to order a special Zoning Administrator meeting on September 12th, 2022 at 5:01 p.m. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E and the recommendation of the Sonoma County Health Officer, the Zoning Administrator will be facilitating this meeting via Zoom webinar. Members of the public can participate virtually at www.zoom.us/join or by calling toll-free 877-853-5257 using meeting ID 826-9059-1601. Members of the public accessing the meeting through Zoom can provide comments during the public comment period. Additional information related to meeting participation is available at www.srcity.org/zoning admin. This meeting is also being live streamed at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Rosa. And next, we have item 2 on today's agenda, which is the zoning administrator business, which includes the zoning administrator statement of purpose, The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the authority to conduct public meetings and hearings and to take action on applications for minor discretionary projects. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the Design Review Board, Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, or City Council as applicable to the decision. There are no zoning administrator reports for consent items today. So I'll skip to item number 4 on the agenda, which is our scheduled public hearing item. And item 4.1 is design review for the Colgan Creek Village, which is located at 3011 Dutton Meadow. And our presenting planner is Senior Planner Monet Shikali.
Thank you, zoning administrator. I will start sharing my screen and go over the project. Okay. So as you introduce the project, this is a minor design review. The reduced review authority for a design review of the Colgan Creek residential project located at 3011 Dutton Meadow. So about project description, the applicant is proposing 65 three-bedroom attached single-family units. Each one will be 1,050 square feet, and also each one will have attached ADU. That will be 747 square feet and 2-bedroom. I have to mention here there is some minor error on the resolution about the number of parking spaces that you might need to correct it. So the applicant will provide 173 parking spaces for the proposed project, 65 garages, and 65 will be parked on the driveways, and there will be 46 street parking spaces. So the total number of required parking spaces per our zoning code would be 163, but the applicant is providing 173 parking spaces. The draft resolution only mentions 163 parking spaces and needs to be corrected to address the proposed 173 parking spaces. Also, the project will provide 8% affordable rental housing, total of 5 units on the site to low-income household, and can receive one incentive or concession. The applicant is requesting one concession to increase the total lot coverage. As you may know, the site is zone R318 and the total allowed lot coverage is 65%. However, there are 32 lots that would exceed this 65% lot coverage, and the applicant is requesting to receive this concession for those lot coverages. And the site, here is the location of the site along Colgan Creek. The current site is vacant. There are no trees on the lot. However, the project will add trees along the streets for the site, and the roads will be added. Let me get a closer look at this one. So here is again a closer look at the project site. The property at north is Lantana and is already developed. And go next. Here is the existing general plan and the zone. The general plan is medium density residential, and the zone is R318, which stands for multifamily residential. The attached single family proposed project is allowed by right in the R318 zone, and the only entitlement that will be required would be a design review. And here are some pictures from the existing site. As you can see, some work has started for the development of the site that is adding streets there. And here are the projects next to Lantana. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the property on the north is already developed with the housing, and some work on the project site has started. The improvement plans to add the streets has already started. Here is the site plan that shows layout of the subdivision. The entrance from the Dutton Meadow and the common way on the left side will be attached or connected to the existing street on the north side. The total of 65 lots with the proposed ADUs. And here's a closer look on the layout of the proposed site or look at lots. As you can see, the applicant is making sure that buildings will be placed outside of the vision triangles. One covered parking and one park and driveway will be available for the cars, and almost one car right in front of each single family. And about the history of the project. So the proposed project, the tentative map was approved in 2008. The applicant submitted application for the subdivision in 2003, and the project was approved in 2008 for 65 lots. The proposed houses at that time didn't go through any design entitlement, design review project. So years later, the applicant has submitted a design review for those proposed homes. Because the project is within the priority area, it was required to go to a concept design review with the design review board. The project went to the design review board as a concept item twice. One was on August 19, and during that meeting, the board requested to bring back the project for another concept design review because the applicant did not provide enough information or details for the project. And then it was October 7 that the applicant presented the project again and tried to address the board's comments. Some of the comments were about adding a more vibrant color to the project, make it 6 color, and increase windows and adding skylights, consider livability versus meeting standards. And board appreciate the changes to materials, including the variety of siding materials and adding windows to the garage. And also they asked for the fencing detail. The applicant architect, Mr. David Colombo, is available today, and he can address the changes they made to the project from the time that the project was presented to the design review board. And here are the elevation for the proposed project. The applicant has added a balcony for the second unit, which is the primary unit, and added some windows on the garage doors. And here are the side elevations and also the roof plan that will include solar panels. Here are the elevations with the colors. And here is the landscape plan because this is a whole new subdivision. So all the streets will need to include trees that would meet the required tree plans from the Park and Recreation Department. And the proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and it qualifies for 3 exemptions. It is Section 15162, Section 15182, and CEQA Guidelines Section 15183. The project has been notified multiple times. 2 times was for the concept design review, and 1 time was for the notice of application. Since then, we have received few emails and phone calls. The main concern was about traffic in that area and parking and new developments next to the creek. So about traffic, the traffic division has reviewed the proposed project and did not have any comments or conditions about proposal. And as you may know, as I mentioned, the subdivision was approved in 2008. So this is not a new subdivision. Basically, is a new housing proposed for an approved subdivision. Parking, the proposed project meets the required number of parking spaces per our zoning code. Unfortunately, the ADUs do not need to provide any parking spaces because state law supersedes and asks for 0 parking spaces if the proposed ADUs are smaller than 750 square feet. And about projects being proposed next to the creek, I'm going to show you on the next slide about the project that here. So in 2002, there was a project for Colgan Creek Restoration Plan that was adopted actually in 2002. And the applicant had to take the creek out of channelized bank and put meander in the creek to enhance the resource and the flood control capacity. On the picture on top, you see the creek is straight. And then 2020, you can see the creek has changed and it's no more like a straight line. They have added a meander. So the proposed project is consistent also with the Santa Rosa Creek Master Plan. And the applicant has considered taking care of the creek and not adding any housing right next to the creek and maintaining the trail along this creek. And with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve minor design review for the proposed 65-unit development located at 3011 Delta Meadow, file number DR 21-066. And I am available to answer any questions, and also the applicant is available. The applicant will not have any presentation, but they are available for any oral questions or oral presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Planner Monet Shikali. I do have a couple of questions. But prior to that, I'm going to open the public hearing and open the public comment period for the public hearing. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please raise your hand, and Recording Secretary Kimberly Hopwood will tell you how to do that.
Thank you. I see a few lists of attendees here. I don't see any phone callers, but just in case somebody is perhaps advising, if you're calling in and you wish to make a public comment, you press *9, and that enables us to recognize you within the Zoom meeting. But for the moment, we do have Michael Good, and I'm going to just take a moment to make sure I have our public comment timer available for us here. Okay. Zoning Administrator Means, can you confirm that you can see the public comment timer on the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, Mr. Good, I'm going to go ahead and send a prompt. As soon as you enter the prompt, you should be able to speak. We can give that a try.
Did that work?
It did. It looks like you're unmuted. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Go ahead with your public comment.
Yeah, I live at 444 Bellevue, which is right at the end of Dutton Meadow, and my neighbor, the road would dead end in our property, which has a stop sign now. It's obvious that this is going to happen. This says they're over there working right now. So my concerns are traffic, stop signs, and what they're going to do, because the traffic right now it's ridiculous in the morning and the afternoon. I mean, it backs up out here. People go through the intersection in the evening and early morning, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. They never stop. I've had a couple of months ago, a car didn't stop at the intersection. They ended up in my yard, took out my mailbox, a hedge, part of my culvert. And about 6 months ago, they did that to the neighbor's yard because they can't stop at that on Dutton Meadow because it's the end of the road. So my concerns is traffic, what they're going to do about that. And the stop sign isn't going to work. They're going to have to put an actual stop light that's lit. And I don't know what they're going to do, because getting out of my driveway is almost impossible because it's right at the intersection. So basically that's about the end for me. I just want to find out what they're going to do, if anything, with the traffic, because I've noticed on a lot of these projects, they get them done and get them finished, and then they take off. They don't care about improvements or anything. And it's like pulling teeth to get it done. So it needs to happen. So that's about it for me.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check our list of attendees here. I don't see any other one. I'd let everyone know. If you want to raise your hand within the Zoom meeting, there should be a way to do that on the toolbar. And we don't have any phone callers. So I think that might, oh, we do have a hand just now. looks like Mr. Brian Hall. Mr. Hall, I'll go ahead and send you a prompt. And we do have a phone caller that just logged in. So we'll let our phone caller know that if you're looking to make a public comment during this item, you can press *9 on your phone, and then it'll raise your hand for me to be able to see that you'd like to make a public comment. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and give Mr. Hall an opportunity. Can you try your sound, Mr. Hall?
Hello, can you hear me?
We sure can. Can you see the timer on the screen here?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and hear your comment.
Yeah, my concern, we live across the way from this development, and the development right next door, they have a severe parking problem with about half as many units on about the same amount of property. There's cars that are parked in the fire zone where it says no parking every day, 24 hours a day. And so with all these units, I just can't imagine where all the cars are going to park. So that's a concern I have of just for safety. My wife is here also and has a few things to say.
Can I start my 3 minutes over though?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and reset
Okay.
there. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, my name's Trish Falone. I live right across the street at 530 Bellevue Ave. You know, I did a whole bunch of research on the populations and all that. And then I realized you're already constructing this project. It's been going on for a month. When I called the city, they said, oh, they're just grading, but they're not grading. They're laying pipes. They're doing all kinds of stuff over there. The project, I mean, I just would like to know, is the project approved and you're just doing this like to try to make us feel better? Because it doesn't make sense. Like Brian said, with the parking, I've called the city planners a couple times. I've said, please go through Lantana Meadows or whatever it's called and see where the cars are parked. The people don't use the garage as a parking spot. There's cars in the fire lanes. If there's a fire, we're gonna have to, we just won't be able to evacuate. That lot, I was told years ago when we were doing the creek cleanup, that lot was supposed to be a buffer zone for the creek. You spent, I don't know how many tens and tens of thousands of dollars for phase 1 and 2 to redo that creek. We're seeing egrets, we're seeing otters. It's all gonna go away. You've got a paved road coming in right next to the creek. And that's what I just can't understand. You know, I've been calling the city, if you go down Dutton Meadow, that you cannot walk on the sidewalk. Okay, I don't know how, I say there's kids going to school on that street. And with the vegetation, they can't walk, they're in the road. I drive down there to go to work. There's kids walking in the road. And you want to put 130 more people on this street, plus whatever's going on in the middle of Dutton Meadow. I know the land here is cheap and we're, you know, not like an affluent area, but please stop dumping all this development in our area. We can't handle more people. We don't have a grocery store within walking distance. You can't get anywhere on the bus. You have to go downtown and then transfer, or you go to the Cottingtown Mall, which means everybody has at least 2 cars in their household. And if you put 120 people there, think about how many cars there are. All I'm asking you to do is please don't just rubber stamp this tonight. Please take a couple minutes, go drive and see what's actually going on there. There's too many cars, there's too many people, it's too congested. There's nothing here for these kids. They can't even walk to school down Dutton Meadow without walking in the street. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting upset, but I just feel like the city does not listen to people in the Roseland area at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falone. Okay, so we had a couple of phone callers log in. And so want to let our phone callers know if you'd like to make a comment, a public comment, please go ahead and press *9 on your phone. and that will let me see that you're raising your hand within the Zoom meeting, and we'll be able to entertain your public comment. Maybe give that just a moment or two. Okay, Ms. Meads, I think that probably about takes care of all the hands that I see.
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment period and close the public hearing. I want to thank the participants very much for sharing their concerns and questions. I have to clarify, though, that what we're looking at tonight is just design review. The actual subdivision, the layout of the streets, and what you're seeing happen already in terms of laying pipes and that type of thing, that's based on an approved subdivision, a final map that was approved in 2008. So at this point, that map was finalized, and there's nothing in my purview that would change that approved final map. So what we're looking at tonight is more architectural and landscape, that type of thing. I will please suggest that if there are people parking in a fire lane, that you either contact the fire department directly or get in touch with our code enforcement department. And you probably have Monet's email address, or my email address is on the city's zoning administrator page. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I will help connect you with who can possibly help you with that. And I wasn't quite sure I understood why kids were having to walk in the street, but if it's overgrown vegetation, the city also has a program to report that type of thing. So please reach out to either myself, and you can reach me, Sherry Meads, and my email address is smeads, just like it says on my name up there, at srcity.org. And I will be happy to connect you with folks that can help, because we definitely want things to be as safe as possible. So I do want to also ask the question of Ms. Shikali, if she has an answer to, if she knows what has been approved with the subdivision final map in terms of public improvements. And if not, I'm sure that she would be happy to get that information to you through an email.
The applicant is available, and they can go over all the detail for the improvement plans and what was approved and where they're going to place the sidewalks along Dotton Meadow. So
Perfect.
either David Colombo or Charlie Trabulsi, who can answer the subdivision map and the improvement plans being done there.
That would be
answer
great.
some of the questions, and also about the creek alignments, that what was asked from the applicant at that time, and how the applicants provided that land to the city to protect the creek and provide a trail there.
Yeah, that would be wonderful if we could hear that from the applicant. And then I also have a few other questions.
It looks like you're
Hello.
unmuted. There you go.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Charlie Trabulsi, civil engineer. A little bit of background. When we initially proposed the project, it was strictly a simple rectangular parcel, and the Creek Committee worked with us and asked us to dedicate, if we would agree to dedicate some land to provide a realignment of the creek, which is the curve that Monet is pointing to right there. So we worked with the Creek Committee. We provided the area that the city required or requested in order to provide the ability to do a curvilinear parkway that was the favorite design of the city versus just having a simple straight shot, which is what we had previous to our involvement in the project. The other thing that was analyzed, what kind of circulation should we have there? And the city staff asked us for 2 or 3 different options. The staff decided to have the road run parallel to the creek. I think the terminology they used was, we would like to have eyes on the creek. So the city usually prefers to have a road running parallel to the creek. So this way they can have eyes on the creek, and it provides easier access for people to walk along the creek, park their cars, and be able to enjoy that linear park. As far as improvements. Dutton Meadow is going to be widened to the same width as the project located north of us, I believe around 7 or 8 feet. And that's also being provided to city standards. There was a temporary asphalt pathway along our frontage that's being removed and replaced with a regular city concrete sidewalk. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background that the circulation and the creek dedication, all of that was addressed, and about right over half an acre is what we dedicated so that the city can use that area for a linear park along the creek. I just wanted to give you that background information.
Excellent, thank you. And I will just reiterate that the questions about circulation and that type of thing are really not in the purview of this meeting. However, I just wanted to, since we have the expert in the subject matter on hand, I thought it would be a good time to try to answer public questions. But if there are any other questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or the project planner, Monet. So I'm going to get to my questions. So on sheet A18 of the project plans, it looks like you reduced the number of windows on the corner lot left side elevations. Would you be able to explain that change?
Bear with me one moment. This is David Colombo, architect applicant.
Thank you.
So one of the things that transpired from our last concept review with the design review board, after we had designed the units and had them completed in design, incorporating all of the elements that the design review had discussed with us. The city public works department came back in and asked us to cut back our property, our buildings by an additional 3 feet. And so we had to reduce the length of all of our buildings by that dimension because apparently perforated concrete sidewalks no longer work for mitigation measures of water retention. And so it forced us to have not a contiguous sidewalk situation, but a planter strip, which we lost footage out of our buildings to accommodate this request after we had been through the design review process. That change forced us to change the interior design configuration to accommodate a reduced footprint. And the redesign of that reduced a couple of windows that were on the original concept because of that.
Thank you for that explanation. That's really my only question. I do have a couple of comments. I know that color is subjective, but I do want to acknowledge appreciation for the fact that you did add a greater selection and more vibrant colors per the design review board's request, that you added the windows to the top of the garages in an effort to hopefully have them used as their intended, automotive storage use. So that's very much appreciated. And I also appreciate the upstairs balconies. I think they're a tremendous addition to this project. And I appreciate also that you will utilize varied plantings to individualize the front of each unit. I think in these more dense developments that's a really special effect. And I think it really is helpful to add ownership and pride of ownership to where people live. So I will be approving this project. And I did have a question about, Monet, you called out 173 parking spaces. I want to make sure that that's correct as we update the resolution. For some reason, I was thinking it was 176. So can we
176, correct.
It
176.
is, okay.
Correct.
Perfect. And there'll be 46 offsite, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, perfect. So then I will be signing that amended resolution. So I want to thank Senior Planner Shikali and the applicant team. Please note that this action is final unless an appeal is filed with the city clerk's office. Actually, that's not true. Unless an appeal is filed with the project planner, Monet Shikali, within 10 calendar days of today's decision, which would be Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. And with that, the September 12th, 2022 special zoning administrator meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.